Welcome back, everybody. It's time for some more PS4 qualifier action. Aggro now joined by Taco on the cast as we're getting ready for Team Pub versus Charlie's Morals. Both these teams 0-1 so far. Taco, if you lose this game, you're looking real slim as a way to get into this qualifier.
I think both of these teams kind of understand what's on the line here because you've already seen Africa Freaks. They're off to a really fantastic start. They've got the 2-0 advantage over everybody so far, and this could be a strong opportunity for either Pub or Charlie's Morals to continue to keep their hopes and dreams alive here as far as qualifying into that PS4 league, but it's looking pretty stiff for both of them.
It really is. Africa Freaks looking like the cream of the crop in Group B, but we got to see who's going to join them potentially in the PS4 Pro League. Of course, the Freaks are not guaranteed in quite yet. They still got one more game to go, but with the way they have been playing, be surprised if they stumble in that last one as Pub with that first pick. Ban away the Terra pick that some players, some teams still really think is super good and ban-worthy, first pick worthy. Others don't really seem to care for it.
I think it all depends on understanding your opponents, and I think as far as these two teams are concerned, they might not be as familiar with the others, so it could just be more so a priority of banning away gods that they don't necessarily want to deal with. So maybe they just view that Earth and Fury as completely detrimental towards the team composition they're looking for. Leads me to believe that maybe they're going to opt for more of a pick-based composition because Earth and Fury is excellent for shutting down that single target focus.
Sure. Zhonghui, another ban, can also be difficult to single down and focus out with a pick composition. And Athena can do just about anything you want her to. That's why she's good enough to first pick, and that's exactly where Pub's going to go. But Artemis locked in for Charlie's Morals isn't a bad return.
Artemis is a very strong hunter to have as part one, I should say. Part one of two, you don't really know what's coming after, but you've already got a little bit of aggression being introduced into that duo lane.
Yep.
Janus in the mid lane means that survivability aspect is also going to be available for Charlie's Morals, and just being able to match the same sort of global presence that the Athena is going to provide, I think is very necessary as far as Charlie's Morals are concerned. And
look at what Charlie's Morals have gone for. They banned 2 hunters and then first pick another one. So now Team Pub could have not a lot of picks left in that hunter role. Soul could be one of them, but also can flex towards the mid lane here.
I almost want this to be a Soul in the mid lane, more so than a Soul in the hunter role. I think that Soul has just as much kill potential against both the Artemis and the Janus. Maybe a little bit more against Artemis due to her limited mobility, but sure. I prefer seeing Soul in mid simply because that heat passive is just so useful in terms of clearing out the waves efficiently. I think you might be able, or Pub might be able to establish a little bit more map pressure also if they have their mid laner freely clearing the waves much further in advance than the Janus.
Yeah, that's a good point. We'll wait and see what they've got. Only 1 hunter ban in the second phase by Charlie's Morals. Could have doubled down and really tried to take all the hunters off the board and force that Soul into the duo lane, but with 1 Jingwei ban, they also ban away the Odin, which is okay against Artemis and Geb, but would have been excellent against this Mercury. I think they were thinking ahead with that ban.
And for good reason, because if you're going to lock in the Mercury, you want to make sure that he doesn't have to worry about escaping from a cage first and foremost. Mercury is interesting, though, because even though I see the value without a doubt, it will be rather difficult to try and confirm an execution kill. It's got to be quick and fast, nice and snappy. Don't really have a whole lot of room to hesitate with the current composition I think that Charlie's Morals are running. This feels a little bit more heavy-handed towards the execution side of things, and so if they're not able to fully commit and confirm picks, then I think that this could be a little bit problematic because their early game's kind of shaky.
Yeah, it could be. nCobbY there. So nCobbY solo is what I'm seeing out of Charlie's Morals here, unless it's a Mercury solo, but I have my doubts about that. Whereas Pub has gone for a very strong team fight-oriented composition. I mean, tons of AoE between the Soul, the Medusa ultimate, I mean, the Guan sustain. It's going to be tough for Charlie's Morals to keep up in that regard, but Charlie's Morals does have that sort of pick comp that you were talking about. What
surprises me, though, is that Charlie's Morals go for this double assassin style, and nCobbY, really a member that you're looking to try and isolate one specific target from every single one of these fights. I'm not sure that Ardent Scott would be an ideal candidate there because Soul having that disapparate available, if you miss time that nCobbY ultimate by even a second, you could possibly end up dropping the kill entirely.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's a Scott on each team, Taco. There's Scott Bros, and then Ardent Scott.
Well, this is now Ardent Scott.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's been Ardent Scott.
What about... Okay, do we call Ardent Scott Scott first because we saw him play first? Or do we let Scott Bros have it? But he's got like the emoji face going on. Scott Bros already looking a little... Like, that's actually Geb's face in his name.
Yeah, it kind of is. If you went to Scott Bros and you were like, yo, we're just going to call you Bros because there's a Scott on the other team, he would give you the face that's in his name. He would just be like, all right, whatever. That's what that face really says to me. No, I think we're going to go Ardent for Ardent Scott, and then Scott for Scott Bros. Or maybe we should just go Bros. We should just not call either of them Scott.
We just go Ardent and Bros.
Yeah, Ardent and Bros. Okay.
They completely lost the privilege to be called Scott now because they couldn't decide which one was going to be the real Scott.
By the way, what did you guys decide? I know you and Finch talked about it, and Finch, for some reason, just eviscerated this man in the solo lane. What was the...
Talking about the X's?
Yeah.
The X's thing?
Yeah, Finch just obliterated a bunch of people that on console, which was, you know, it is what it is, I suppose, but those are my people. What did you guys decide for this Guan Yu?
So it came down in the end to being real close between Cinna, but then I heard Finch say Kana, and I was like, whoa, that could actually really work here also. I like Cinna because, you know, I like thinking about cinnamon.
Yeah, I was thinking
cinnamon is like perfect, especially in like oatmeal.
Yeah, that'd be really good. Not so good for nCobbY in the duo lane. First blood not secured yet. Finally, Mortimer will get it for himself. That's what I'm calling him. It ends up working out for Charlie's Morals there. First blood in the duo lane to a Mercury. That's a feels good.
I was almost expecting cordiaxiz to meet the same fate there, but Persone just decides to back off the last second, maybe kind of expecting or having some sort of sign that the Batz was right around the corner on that purple buff. So Plasma with some nice backup, but unfortunately didn't make it in time to actually save the life of nCobbY.
nCobbY, a name that you should potentially be familiar with if you've been following the European console scene for a while, has been in and around the European SCL on the Xbox side of things, so someone who has experience playing competitive play. Well, may have even come to LAN at once or twice, if my memory serves me correctly. So you expect to see at least a little bit of a competitive drive from this guy, and one who could potentially lead Team Pub to a victory. If it isn't just another a different nCobbY. You never really know, I suppose.
It's an entirely different nCobbY. And you had no idea.
I would have no idea. How am I supposed to know?
It'd be like the Scott debacle all over again.
It really would be, but there's only one nCobbY. I just think it's a different nCobbY elsewhere. That would be that'd be pretty bad. I know this Plasma is not the Plasma that plays in NA on PC. I know that. I'm like really sure.
Oh no, you're 100%. I was gonna make a joke, but I decided against it. I was like, I don't know if I'll really be able to pull this one off all the way without laughing. So. All
right. Well, I appreciate you letting me know that you were intending on making a joke. Next time you just feel free, Taco.
I can just drop it.
Let her rip, dude. You know, that's what we're here for. Charlie's Morals off to a pretty decent start with that first blood, but overall, their team composition does want to hit the early to mid game a little bit harder, whereas Team Pub, as I mentioned, really wants to try and group up as 4 or 5.
Yeah, I was initially expecting Pub to actually be the pick composition sort of draft style based off of their early band choices, but then Charlie's Morals completely steals that one away from them, and we see such a heavy team-oriented kind of display from Pub. The question is, surviving the laning phases up to those team fighting aspects, and we've seen some heavy promise from this duo lane in their first game. Speaking of which, Scott Bro's now in a whole lot of trouble here. Overhand smash, not going to be the confirmation.
But a really good sonic boom coming out of Persone. cordiaxiz on the run, dodges out. That suppressed the insolent. His unique thing couldn't provide what he needed. Ardent Scott on the way. 1 for 2 on the abilities, but that means that Mort is out of there.
To be fair to Ardent, though, walls are honestly one of the worst things in the world sometimes.
Yeah, it happens. It's one of those, it can be tough. Especially with, you really need to trust that you're hitting your Stellar Burst to follow up into Supernova properly, so you queue it up, basically, in time, and trusting himself that he'll hit it. Never will fault him for that. Good kill for Team Pub on that left, but Persone was right in position and had a very nice sonic boom to respond. It's just a unique thing. And Scott Bros neither of which were level 5. That was the big difference.
Going back also to that kill in duo, I was a bit surprised there to see Plasma not having the confirmation. I really thought that the overhand smash was going to do it, and somehow cordiaxiz just beats him to that last hit. A great start for the Hunter there. Could be a lot of trouble, though, for Kana, as he's going to get wrapped up in that special delivery, but the nCobbY ultimate off the mark.
That one hurt. That one hurt me. Why didn't Persone just throw him at the nCobbY to guarantee it?
Style play, man.
Why make him aim?
He's got Beast in his name.
Look,
but
look, FIFA Beast should have hit it. Don't get me wrong. That's not, of course, but at the same time, this is really a personal bias and pet peeve of mine coming to light here. When Mercuries don't throw someone right at the person who's following
See,
up.
my problem is every time I throw someone directly towards my mid laner, looking at you aggro, and all those filthy Raijin raw players just like yourself.
Howdy.
And they go left or right, when it should just be straight down the
That's because we've
center.
been conditioned to not trust you idiot junglers.
No, that's your fault for being dumb.
We'll talk about it later. Scott Bros
Do it. Oh, I was waiting for the teleport.
I wanted him to do it too, but he would have certainly fallen, and Ardent Scott could potentially do it himself, but there's that disapparate form you were talking about. Soul is really good at putting herself into safe spots, even when she likely shouldn't. A bunch of ado about nothing there in the mid lane.
Nice Stellar Burst connection off of the taunt there. Plasma wrapped back around. Good damage from the overhand smash, but won't be able to follow it up with that Sacred Monkey Toss.
Quick dash away from Persone. Gets him out of danger. Plenty of action following these junglers. Plasma and Persone have been really, really aggressive no matter where they are.
Yeah, a lot of unique things happening on the map this game.
Sometimes these guys are making plays and I just think, what the beast? Like FIFA Beast.
Did you say what the beast?
What the beast? Yeah, it's my Zeros impression.
Oh my god.
What do you mean? Isn't it good?
I'll clip it and I'll have Zeros later. How about that?
All right, that's fine. I think I've been working on it.
I think he's on vacation right now. Don't want to ruin his mood.
Yeah, don't want to. Look, what? Wait, hold on. Why do you think it's gonna ruin his mood? I think he'll very much enjoy my.
Did you
impression.
hear it?
What,
Aggro.
What the beast? That's really good.
It's like Tricksteak with a lisp or something.
Why are you coming at Zeros like that? I sound
What?
just like Zeros.
No,
so what
you
you're
do
saying?
not. That's why I'm saying
All right.
what you sounded like actually.
I've spent too much time with FDOT because like I'm just now doing his bit of doing horrible impressions of players and then making it sound
No,
like
he does it for gods though.
No, he does it for gods, but he also does it for Ice Ice Baby, where he's like, I'm Ice Ice Baby. That's FDOT's Ice Ice Baby impression. That's horrible. It's
To be fair, I think we all remember my Vote MBK one.
Well, that was.
I know Vote remembers mine.
I could never forget your Vote MBK.
But to be fair, like if I really wanted to impersonate Vote and his Scottish accent, I would just not make legible words.
Totally intelligible. Exactly. That is the correct way to do that impersonation. Get a little bit off topic here. We're talking about European PC pros instead of these potential European console pros on the PS4. We could talk about doing impressions of the European Xbox pros. We could do that. I just don't know how to. Anytime I try and do an English accent, Hindu Man just berates me. So I don't try that. That's like unclaimed territory for me.
It's all right. It's not even coming home anymore. So
too soon, Taco. We were all.
I was cheering for them too.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
We're all disappointed together.
We are. I'm not even gonna go into. The wound is too fresh.
This could be a disappointing moment for Arden as he's going to end up losing those oracles, but Plasma now looking to make a trade-off here. Huge damage out onto Scott Bros. Really nice defender of Olympus going to be finished off with that Athena follow-up, and that's another guaranteed kill onto the Geb there.
TrochowskiX came through, but a little bit too late. Persone thought about using that Sonic Boom, but decides against it as the rest of his team would have never been able to follow up. And that frees up Arden Scott to get himself a tier 1 in the mid lane. This is what Soul does, and I think her falling out of the meta kind of makes you forget about what she really does and how she can punish you. If things like that, rotating on a rotation that won't really prove fruitful, you lose your tower so quickly.
That's a very steep price to pay also. Not even 10 minutes into this match, just about to hit it, and Arden Scott has already opened up the map so much here for himself and Plasma. They can now work around this pressure a little bit better, look to choke point. TrochowskiX on that Janus whenever he goes for his red buff. Even venturing across over towards the right and left mid Harpies could prove to be more difficult now that he doesn't have the safety of his T1.
And Plasma, you know he's going to be looking to play aggressive on Trochowski, not with that tier 1 tower in his way. Batz has just been such a prominent pick so far in these PS4 qualifiers.
Which is almost surprising to an extent, because it's not like Batz has a whole ton of early game pressure and control. I think it's mostly the giant AoE space control that Fear No Evil can provide that has allowed for a lot of players to really start leaning more towards him. I don't want to call it like a crutch,
sure, in
a way, but it does feel as though objective control has definitely been one of the key struggles for a lot of these PS4 teams. So having an ultimate that can help you out with that one is almost always going to be the right way to go.
And it isn't just, I mean, certainly that does play a huge part of it, that AoE zone control, but a lot of these Batz players are just making plays, you know, teleporting around, getting big crits off their abilities. It's been a lot of fun to watch as Persone lost 2/3 of his health off of 1 ton from nCobbY. As I mentioned, nCobbY's seen competitive play before on the console side of Xbox, and he's providing a little bit now for Team Pub as they're going to head towards this Gold Fury, and this is going to go down very, very quickly. Trochowski's ultimate a little bit wide, and Team Pub get the Gold Fury.
Charlie's Morals knew it was happening. They just couldn't get anywhere close. You had Kana in the mid lane completely zoning out FIFA Beast and Scott Bros. And as much as Charlie's Morals wanted to try and contest that, Trochowski was the only one who had any real chance of out securing it, and that was just banking off of through space and time being the objective steal that they needed.
Plasma blinked over to try and stop a Pyromancer that wasn't happening, but he's getting crushed now. Persone takes care of him. No beads, of course, for that Batz as nCobbY got taken up into the sky by FIFA Beast. No follow-up damage on the back end, though. Means that nCobbY's still on the run. Persone trying to prevent that support from getting away, and he'll do just that, but Ardent doing tons of damage now. His Disapparate Trail gets the kill for him as he's able to escape with the back end of that ability. A 1 for 2 in favor of Charlie's Morals.
Not to mention the blue buff to boot, but all the while, cordiaxiz has been left to his own devices, and he's made good use of its time by split pushing the T1 tower over there in the dual lane. Pyromancer could very likely fall here, but same could be said for Scott Bros as he's now trying to roll out away on Geb.
Really nice sash there from FIFA Beast to stop the taunt coming from nCobbY that would have guaranteed a kill onto Scott Bros. So Charlie's Morals don't get the Pyromancer, but they don't lose anyone in the process, but it looks like they may lose this tier 2. cordiaxiz could have stuck that, I think, and maybe gotten it, but I don't know. With through space and time, that's tough.
It's a death wish, almost, for yourself if you stick around.
He's definitely dying.
You're fully committing to that tower, though, and if you don't get it, ultimate oof.
Yeah, that's true. Definitely the safe call to back it up. No ward coverage here for Team Pub, but knowing that through space and time was used on the left, that everyone was rotating to stop cordiaxiz's split push, that's another objective that goes the way of Team Pub.
I'm really impressed, by the way, with Team Pub's adjustments already, just from having watched their initial first game of the day to now. They have made some pretty significant changes in terms of focusing a lot more around this objective play. They kind of struggle with that pretty heavily, and I think that they've definitely cleaned it up. Could be, you know, obviously calling it a little bit too soon, so still need to watch as the rest of the game progresses, but the changes are certainly in place.
And that's what you need to be able to do in these long qualifier situations, is be able to take your losses in stride, not get upset by them, just learn from them, and certainly Pub has looked like they've done that so far.
Also keep in mind that Pub's only loss today has come from Africa Freaks, and they are the leading team right now, and they also seem to be the best team in this current group.
So far, certainly showing that with their 2-0 record. Team Pub trying to prevent themselves from falling to 0-2, which is basically a death wish if you want to make it to the PS4 Pro League this fall. Of course, we are doing a 2-group format per region, 4 teams for 2 groups. Top 2 move on to form the league. We already got Charizard in my backyard and Takedown joining the PS4 Pro League out of Europe. We determined that on Tuesday. We will get our final 2 teams in Europe today, and then tomorrow we'll finish off the North American Pro League, so still plenty of PS4 qualifier action for you to look forward to.
And getting back to this match, Plasma making good usage of staying on top of these left and right mid Harpies. It feels as though Team Pub has definitely managed to stay in control of the global farm that's available on the map. Charlie's Morals seem to be struggling a little bit. They found return picks, they found return kills, a couple of buff invades here and there, but this is just like sprinkling in compared to everything that Team Pub has been able to acquire, which is why we see this nearly 5,000 gold lead between the two.
Well, Persone, I mean, he's 3-0 or 3-1, has every kill for Charlie's Morals, and still is behind in farm in comparison to Plasma, who has no kills so far. That should tell a pretty solid story. Sprint was used by FIFA Beast as Kana and nCobbY both used their ultimates, as Kana was looking for a little bit of a cheeky speed buff invade.
And I'm not completely sold on this nCobbY solo yet either. cordiaxiz trying to get out of danger, recognizes that Persone was charging up that sonic boom around the corner. Could still be looking for more here. Gold Fury is going to respawn any second now, and while there's at least 4 members from Charlie's Morals hovering this dual lane side, I'm not sure if they aren't paying much attention. This could very easily be another quickly burned Gold Fury.
Very easily. I mean, that's what Soul does. Medusa can do that as well, now having that extra Viper shot. It is a big uptick in DPS. Now, Trochowski does have his through space and time, and they're going to need it because they're out of position again for when this Gold Fury spawns. Down to about half. Scott Bros gets past as here it comes through space and time. Going to hit nCobbY, but that's the only one. Blink forward by Plasma, Fear No Evil onto the back line, but FIFA Beast able to immune a lot of it. Scott Bros, on the other hand, gets crushed, not by the other Scott, but by cordiaxiz, who gets himself a double kill, started off by his Petrify. Persone not even going to bother with this one, it feels like, as Charlie's Morals just getting decimated. Good Windfire wheels, but don't think it'll be enough.
It won't be enough, but that's why he's got his mid laner waiting for him at the bottom. Kana does make sure to return fire and claims the life of FIFA Beast for his aggression there, but Trochowski forced to kind of just sit and watch now. That was such a one-sided fight in favor of Team Pub. Even if Persone wants to rip through this fight with a Sonic Boom, he's going to be cut off thanks to the Athena taunt. Now trying to run away one more time. Unstable Vortex just way too late to try and contest, and Team Pub just further extend their lead.
I like the trust there from the back line between the front line and themselves, that backliners were staying on Gold Fury because they trusted their frontliners and nCobbY and Kana to zone away Persone on the ultimate. They do so, and that means the second Gold Fury goes their way.
I just can't help but wonder why nCobbY.
Yeah.
Of all the god choices that were left available there in the solo lane, why would you limit yourself to a god that has very little potential of out-pressuring probably one of the weaker solo laners during the laning phase? I
mean, you can play very aggressive at times, but Guan Yu's heal just kind of stuffs that. I mean, it does interrupt Talu Assault, but if you miss Talu Assault, then you're just toast at that point in the laning phase. I mean, look, nCobbY solo can run away with the game, but as soon as that doesn't happen, you're immediately feeling like you made a mistake, almost, with this selection, and has not worked out so far for FIFA Beast. As another objective started by Team Pub and another objective finished by them. Charlie's Morals just don't seem interested in taking these objective fights.
They don't have anybody that can afford to initiate for them right now. If Scott Bros tries to go in, this level 10 Geb is just going to get gobbled right up by everybody from Pub. We've already seen how untanky he looks just at the fights that happened at the Gold Fury not too long ago. And if this Geb is ever going to try and have a chance at catching up, someone else from Charlie's Morals has to take up the mantle there and be the frontlining factor. But there's just no one to do it because they have nCobbY.
Well, FIFA Beast does get the ultimate off before he falls, but he will fall. Through space and time comes through, and again, only hits the tanks. Not quite enough damage there. Scott solo ulted by Batz. Petrify gets Trochowski as well. His beads were less than 10 seconds from coming up, and he gets caught in the collateral damage there of cordiaxiz's ultimate. 3 kills from Team Pub. They use 4 out of 5 ultimates, but they're still healthy enough, especially with Guan sustained, to do an FG.
This is just a 1-by-1 pick-off situation for Charlie's Morals. Everybody was in the same area for the most part. It's just that they were still so far spread apart from each other. And FIFA Beast, we were just talking about the lack of initiation for Charlie's Morals. Next thing you know, it's a nCobbY in the center of 4 people trying to back up Scott Bros, but between the two of them, there is 0 damage that's going to be anywhere near relevant enough to take out 1, much less 4 members of Team Pub.
Well, even then, I mean, TrochowskiX is the only follow-up to the nCobbY ultimate, but he's gone for Chronos Pendant and Divine Ruin. That is not a particularly power-heavy build. He's not going to be able to blow anyone up particularly easily off of that nCobbY ult. There are a lot of picks here for Charlie's Morals where you feel like, look, Divine Ruin is a necessity against Guan and Sol. I get that. But Janus is so bad at applying it consistently and having it still be relevant damage for him that you almost need to pick a jungler that can apply Brawler's Beatstick instead and then have the option to go Pestilence and a Brawler's Beatstick to kind of cover that weakness. But Charlie's Morals haven't done that here. Mercury Brawlers is never going to get the job done. It only applies on his ult in his 3.
Just going to have to wait and see what happens next, really. And it's not going to be an easy task for Charlie's Morals. They're in a pretty rough spot right now. Fire Giant being on Team Pub for the next couple of minutes here, and not to mention the fact that they've already had a pretty substantial gold lead for the past 10 minutes or so, and now that's just been extended to 9,000, 10K gold pretty much at this point, especially after this T2 tower falls over there in duo, T2 in mid, very likely to fall pretty soon here as well. And for what it's worth, Aggro, I don't even necessarily feel like Charlie's Morals are bad by any means. I think that mechanically speaking, they're actually quite sound. It's just been, they've limited themselves so much with their current composition, and I feel like that's going to end up costing them. Yeah,
it's composition. It's also just confidence and shot calling. I mean, how many objectives have gone Team Pub's way with little to no contest from Charlie's Morals? It's really hard to win when you give up 2 Gold Furies, 2 Pyromancers, and a Fire Giant without much of a fight.
Team Pub just seemed to be a little bit more experienced in the competitive play department in comparison to Charlie's Morals. Charlie's Morals seem to be getting really absorbed into the problems within this match instead of trying to create solutions.
cordiaxiz has been a problem for Charlie's Morals for sure. 4-0-4, 3rd overall, 2nd on his team in player damage, and his petrifies have been outstanding in just about every single team fight. And that's what you pick the Medusa for, is big team fight ultimate.
Well, just check out his positioning every single time. He is the furthest backed member, and it's perfect because as a Medusa, you want to be able to wait it out until everybody's expended everything. Speaking of which, taunts are going to be good, and Scott Bros, we knew you well, but straight up into the air goes cordiaxiz from that nCobbY Wind Fire and Wheels.
Still spinning, but again, the lack of damage comes into play from Charlie's Morals. I mean, that's how you draw it up. If you're Charlie's Morals, that team fight could not have gone any better for them, except maybe if Scott Bros gets his ultimate off instead of getting taunted. Like, that is the only thing that could have gone better, and it still just isn't enough.
Finding nCobbY there would have been extremely clutch, but Charlie's Morals is a little bit too far behind to finish off the execution for that one. Persone now going in entirely onto the Soul in the background, but everybody forgets about Kana, who's inside of the base.
Well, Plasma's going to take care of the back line. cordiaxiz gets Persone. And Team Pub kind of make it look easy here, Taco. This might not be as clear-cut a group as we initially thought. Now that Team Pub has their feet under them, they look like some serious contenders here. They will go to 1-1, whereas Charlie's Morals will fall to 0-2, all but eliminating them from making the PS4 League this fall.
Believe that currently Charlie's Morals is going to need a little bit of additional help also if they want to find themselves still in contention for that PS4 League in the fall. And I think all in all, though, that was an incredibly well-played match there from Team Pub. It looked like night and day in comparison to their first matchup against Africa Freaks. And so it almost makes me wonder, is Africa Freaks really just that much further ahead of everybody else? Because Team Pub just did to Charlie's Morals what happened to them earlier.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. We'll get that answer as we continue on the day. This is only match 4. We still have 2 more to go. It's not really that clear right now. Insomnia and Team Pub both sitting at 1-1. Charlie's Morals at 0-2. Africa Freaks 2-0 thus far. But it's really between Team Pub, it feels like, and that Insomniac's team. Insomniac, they have that win, but it did take them 56 minutes or whatever.
They really struggled with figuring out how to properly close out the match. It was those Phoenix Sieges. Even after they claimed 1, 2, all 3, it did not seem to matter. They just could not finish off the execution of the team fights after the fact. They just fell too low, didn't really re-engage properly, I felt at times. And even though I think they just played too many of the risk versus reward situations as opposed to just disengaging, hard healing, and then you surge up the lane with your team fully healthy. But if they can figure it out for this next match, I mean, this could be very problematic for them based off of that pub.
Yeah, pub looking really, really solid right now, and they should have a match coming up within the next 2, because right now we got 2 games left on the schedule, and their matchup up against nCobbY is going to be a critical one. So get ready for it. We'll be right back with some more action.